But let's talk about this Trevor Lawrence deal. It's a big deal. I'm a little surprised by it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm surprised that Trevor Lawrence, in terms of annual average salary, so we can get into some of the details of his new contract. But if you look at average annual salary, his new contract is gonna tie him with the Joe Burrow with the top contract per year for quarterback annual salary. It's 55 million per year. That's Joe Burrow. That's the Joe Burrow number. And you would, even though it's usually kind of based on just precedent, whatever franchise quarterback was paid before you make as much as them. But usually there's somewhat of a slotting that, all right, this guy went to a Super Bowl. And this guy did this. They may go to the stats, or it may go, to your accolades and achievements, whatever. This is why this is a great contract for Dak Prescott, because for Trevor Lawrence to get a salary tied with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow's going to, so I think the big, if you want to separator for Joe Burrow, why maybe it's an escalator or whatever that puts him at the top of that quarterback salary scale, is because he went to a Super Bowl as a young quarterback on his rookie deal. So that now the upside for Joe, and he was a number one pick. So the upside for Joe Burrow is immense. Same thing for Trevor Lawrence. He was a number one pick, but he hasn't proven as much as a Joe Burrow has. And I think for him to get that kind of deal for Dak Prescott, who hasn't gone as far in the playoffs as Joe Burrow, statistically, Dak Prescott has done some pretty impressive things, and he's elite in some of those categories statistically. But if you're talking about just achievement, Dak Prescott can make the argument, I've achieved way more than a Trevor Lawrence. And statistically also, I mean, he's better than Trevor Lawrence too. I mean, he was in the MVP discussion. He was second in the MVP voting. He was second team All-Pro this year. To me, this means Dak Prescott's going to get at least $55 million. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, and I mean, right? And this is a team signing a quarterback early, understanding that in 2028, they're going to have a pretty good deal on a quarterback. And so they know we're going to sign him a year before it comes up, so we'll get ahead of it. So we know that when we're paying him, there'll probably be Dak Prescott's deal will be in there by then, and then there could be another deal or two before we even get to the 2025 or 2026, whatever it is, 25 or 6 when this starts. We'll be able to have a couple more deals going, and it won't be crazy by year 3 of this contract. It'll seem like a reasonable deal. And we get that versus going back into quarterback hell where we don't know who our quarterback's going to be. We don't have the face of the franchise. We don't have any of those things. Let's just sign the deal now, get it through. We can plan our free agency more. We can plan what we're going to do and build our team and all of that. It makes sense what the Jaguars are doing, but it just is another move for Jerry where it's you keep waiting for someone to sign like a team-friendly deal or something to happen that's going to not show what we all could have predicted was going to happen, which is the money keeps going up, and it just keeps getting more and more. And Dak again holds all the cards. So this is another piece of, you're negotiating of, well, you're no Joe Burrow, you're no Patrick Mahomes, so you got to be paid less than them is kind of out the window with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, if you're based on precedent, which is what these contracts are usually based on, you're going to lose that argument. If you try to make that argument, because Trevor Lawrence would be the counter. And it's a 5-year, $275 million extension, $200 million of it guaranteed. And like I said, Dak Prescott and I'm trying to think of other quarter. Listen, the Mahomes extension. Mahomes is going to do something here soon. But there's no way the Chiefs can continue to disrespect Patrick Mahomes like this as a quarter. I mean, he's a 10th highest paid QB now.
No, and Patrick Mahomes also needs to realize that there was probably going to be a point with this ownership where if it starts to go downhill, like Andy Reid retires and so they just won't care and won't pay him. And they'll just be like, that's a possibility. You got your years left. We don't care. We're not winning. So you're not paid for past shit. We don't care.
No, he's got a 10-year deal where he signed a 10-year deal. So they do have control of him for a long time. I'm sure at one point, Brett Veach is arguably the best GM in the NFL, one of the best GMs. He won't let that happen. What you're talking about, Patrick, which is kind of the doomsday scenario, ownership to go, well, you mean he signed a 10-year deal. We got control of him. We're good. And it's like, no. At this point, he's on the verge of being dropped out of the top 10 By the time the season starts, he'll be out of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks, because I think Tua and Jordan Love will get paid, and they'll get paid more. Honestly, guys, if Tua may sign an extension and get paid more or as much as Patrick Mahomes, think about that. Just because of the way the quarterback market works,